Hello, 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 everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jay Lee. This is, of course, Jay Lee's Corner. And this, I'm trying to fix my stupid hair. And this is the review for Season 7, Episode 1 of Game of Thrones. First things first, of course, if you have not done so already, please take a moment to subscribe to my channel. It does not cost you anything. It just lets you know when I have new videos and new content on my channel. And as I say in every video, I do love new subscribers. Also, you can share my videos. Make sure to like my video. Even if you don't like it, you can hit the dislike button. But I don't think anyone should hit the dislike button. But yeah, please, subscribe to my channel, share my videos, and you can also comment below my videos your opinions. Whether you agree with me, don't agree with me, or whatever. Just, of course, always please be respectful. That is the key word of the day. So yeah, I do love new subscribers, so please subscribe. So, I was not a Game of Thrones watcher from Season 1. I have to fix my glasses, I'm sorry. I was not a Game of Thrones watcher from the beginning. I didn't start watching Game of Thrones until it was on hiatus from Season 5, I believe. So it was right before Season 6 started. And I think I got bored or something, and people kept talking about Game of Thrones. I'm like, let me try to watch. It was an episode that was on TV of one of the seasons, and I watched it, and I was like, oh my god, this is really, really good. And plus, I love period piece shows. So I went back and I started from the beginning. So I did go back. I started from Season 1, binge watch from Season 1 through Season 5, and then waited with everyone else for Season 6 to start. And so this is my second time watching from like anybody else, not being able to binge watch my second season. So, and I was like, oh, now I'm doing reviews, so I can also review Game of Thrones. So we do know the last season ended with, Jon defeating Ramsay. Arya had killed Lord Frey. So, this new episode, new season did start off with, we saw Lord Frey sitting at the table. And I was like, okay, they're starting with some kind of flashback. Okay, cool. And then as he's talking, he's saying how he got all of his family and everyone together who basically had a hand in killing the Starks, killing the mother and the brother, the fiance that was pregnant, the wife that was pregnant, and everything. And that's when I realized Arya took on his face, and that's her. And she's going to get some damn revenge. And did she ever? So we see that Arya got the revenge for the people who killed her family. She brought everyone there. Of course, he's the crazy old guy who's, having them all be at dinner and things like that. And then, she has the little girl, chambermaid people, or the maid people, pour all of them something to drink. And I'm like, she gonna poison them. It's gonna be oh so good. And she poisoned the whole family. Like, she poisoned 50 people who were all there, everyone who had any kind of hands in murdering them. And then as they were drinking, she's saying, yeah, you all had a hand in killing, the Starks. You slit the throat, you killed the pregnant one, but you didn't kill them all. You left one alive. And they did. And they left, a wolf alive among the sheep. And the wolf came back to kill all the sheep. And as they all started coughing and choking and coughing up blood, it was a very good feeling. Because I remember when I watched the Red Wedding episode, no one told me what was going to happen. So I was completely in the dark about what was going to happen. People dying. And I was like, oh, it's so good. They had just gotten married. Now they're at this little dinner thing. And then all of a sudden, everyone's being murdered. And I was like, why didn't anyone tell me that the Red Wedding meant everyone was going to die? I was so mad. So for me, and I know for other Game of Thrones fans, it was very rewarding seeing, the get back of it. It was a great thing seen Arya kill Lord Frey at the end, you know, in season finale of season 6. So seeing her use his face also to kill everyone else who had anything to do with it, it was very just rewarding. But she made sure to leave witnesses. So she left it was 2 female kids there who when the one girl was about to drink as well, she was like, not you, girl. I'm not going to waste good ale on a girl. Because that's something that the old man would say. Of course, he's the old evil dude. So, you know, why would he let anyone just drink this good ale as he's saying for people? But she left her alive on purpose. She left her alive to say, hey, make sure that when anyone asks you what happened tonight, make sure you say to them that North remembers and that winter is coming. I'm sorry, no, and that winter came for the House Frey. And then she just walks past all the dead bodies out of the castle. It was just so fucking amazing. I was very, very impressed. The next thing that we see, we just see the White Walkers. You see smoke, and you just see the camera going through, and you're like, what, you know, what's going on? And then you just see the king of the White Walkers, and he's first, and you see all the other ones slowly coming and slowly walking, because again, winter is here. The White Walkers are coming. We have to remember that's what we're all waiting on. What I did notice is that there was a giant White Walker, so I wonder if that was it Mag the Mighty, the giant who helped them, who was a oh my god, I can't think of what he was. He was Free Folk. Yeah, I wonder if that was him or if it was another giant. But I was like, oh my god, is he now a White Walker? Because again, he died at the end of season 6. With the battle between Jon and Ramsay. So yeah, we see that happen, but we also see Bran coming out of a vision. So that's his vision of what's happening. And you're wondering, was that the past? Is that the future? Because of course things have happened in the past. So that was a question I also had. But you know, we see that Meera and Bran finally reached the wall to get in. And at first they didn't believe that he was Bran Stark, the brother of Jon Snow. You know, the son of Ned Stark. And then he just starts talking about what they've already seen and what's really going to come. And they, of course, let him in. That's all that we saw of Bran this episode. So we didn't see him anymore for this particular episode. So then it goes to Jon. Of course, Jon is the king of the north now. You know, him and Sansa are there. They have their army, basically. You know, the free folk are there. Littlefinger has his little people there and everything. So, and then also the other people of the north are with them. Lady, what is her name? I can't think of the little girl who's also a lady, and she's just tough as freaking nails. But yeah, Jon is talking, and he's like, okay, we need to focus on finding, you know, Dragonglass, because that's the only thing that kills White Walkers. We know that because we saw him kill a White Walker last season with Dragonglass. So he's like, you know, that is going to be our main priority. We need to make weapons so that we can, you know, fight this war that we know is coming. So he says, you know, also we have to train anyone to fight. You know, we can't only fight with the adults. So we need anyone between the ages of 10 and 16 will also have to fight. One person, of course, is like, oh yeah, you know, I can't wait for my son to be taught, you know, to be a soldier, to be a man. And Jon says, we can only win this war if only half of the population or half of our community basically is fighting. The girls are going to have to get taught to fight too. And then the same person who was happy that his son would, you know, be taught to fight, he's like, you want me to give, you know, put a sword in the hand of my granddaughter? And, you know, Jon's basically looking at him like, yeah. And we do see, wait, before that, oh no, that was right. But we do see Lady Lyanna. That's who she is, a little tough little girl. She stands up and she's like, you know, I might be a girl, but I'm not going to stand by and let anyone protect me, I'm going to fight too. And then we like, with no respect to you, my lady. And she's like, right. So we'll train every, man, woman, and girl to fight. And she like, sit your ass down, basically. So that was a very, very cool part. Just so that it's a thing of, at this point in time, it's not about man, woman, girl, and boy. We're fighting for our survival. And, you're going to have to get over not thinking that girls should be taught to be soldiers, basically. So, yeah. He also wants the free folk to help protect the castle. Because, well, they helped in the war, in the fight between him and Ramsay, and so that the leader of the free folk was like, so basically we're the wall now. I thought that was funny. That was cute. So we do see the first battle of power, I would say, between Jon and Sansa. We know that Sansa, at the end of last season, was a little bit perturbed, for lack of, upset or not too happy that she kind of doesn't have all the power. At first she wanted Jon to be in charge, but then she also has her own thoughts, ideas on how things should be ran, and sometimes Jon does not take her opinion into account, and we know that aggravates her a little bit. So when they're talking about the families of people who fought for Ramsay, who used to fight for House Stark, Sansa wants those families' homes taken away from the families and given to people who were loyal. Jon doesn't agree with that. Jon feels like he doesn't want to fault a whole family's lineage, or a whole family basically, based on the mistakes of maybe the father. And when they're kind of going back and forth about that a little bit, and he's like, he just doesn't want to hold the family responsible for one member's actions. And then, of course, Sansa questions him to say, well, there is no, punishment for treason. There is no reward for loyalty. And you can see that the aggravation on Jon's face, that she's basically questioning his authority in front of everyone. And he says, the punishment for treason is death. Point blank and period. He makes that known, but he also makes it known that, he will never hold the children responsible for sins of the father, and that's his word as King of the North. And he basically has to shut her down, just so that she'll stop undermining his word as the King of the North, which is what he is. So he does let her know, no. He then calls up Umber and House Stark's children, of course, who they are the head of the houses now, because their parents are dead, and he asks them to pledge their loyalty to House Stark, and they do, even though they are two children, one girl, one boy, of two separate houses, but they do pledge their loyalty to the King of the North to fight for them for all, forever and never and ever. So, he also says how the past no longer matters. Basically because the people who have done things in the past are now dead. Their parents, their fathers are dead, died, fighting for Ramsay, of course. So the children didn't make that decision. So he's like, that no longer matters now. All of that is in the past. We're going to move forward. So we do see him and Sansa having a conversation, and he lets her know, you should never question my word as King of the North. You can't undermine me. That's just not how it's supposed to go. She compared him to Joffrey, which I thought was laughable, solely because she compared them, saying that, Joffrey also didn't want anyone to question his rule and question his word. There's two different things. He never said that you couldn't question his word. He was just saying you can't do that in public, in front of people, because it then undermines him as king. And that's true. There's a difference between Joffrey, who didn't want anyone to question him in public or in private, and Jon, who's just saying we need to show a united front. And you can't wait until we're in front of people to question my rule. That's just not how it goes. So she does say, he's completely different than Joffrey. Basically, that was her way of apologizing, or saying she didn't really mean what she said, or how she tried to compare him to another king. So, yeah. But he also, tells her, me listening to you doesn't really make me better than any other king from before, because basically you can't always be right. You can't think that because you have an opinion that your opinion I have to listen to just so that I will do things right. And that's true. I mean, he can listen to her, but she can't assume that she always knows best. We do see that Cersei sends a letter to them, basically telling them, now that she's the queen of the Seven Kingdoms, as she thinks, that they need to come to King's Landing to kneel before her, or to, basically, or to die, because of course she's killed everyone else. Jon doesn't know Cersei, so he is like, I'm not worried about her. We have to worry about these White Walkers. That's his main concern. But Sansa lets him know, you can't ignore her. I've seen her in action, and if she thinks of you as a threat, she's going to come for us, and we need to face that head on. Jon does make notice that she talks about Cersei as if she's, that she admires her. And we all know that in some way she do. She does say, well, yeah, because she taught me a lot. So I don't think she talked about her as if she admires her. She knows her. So it's something to know what a person is capable of. So you're giving them their due, basically, because you can't ignore Cersei. No one can. So we do see Cersei is queen. And she's talking with Jaime. And, she brings up how their brother, why can't I pronounce his name? Tyrion. I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. Please don't hate me. I can't think right now of how it's pronounced. And that is so stupid because I've said it forever and ever and ever. But their little brother, who is an imp, who was working with Daenerys, and he is now her right hand. They bring up how their brother Lannister is now helping their enemy. And, Cersei wants to basically destroy everything. Jaime lets her know also, because she keeps saying, I'm the queen of the Seven Kingdoms. And he's like, no, you're queen of 3 kingdoms at the most. Because there are people in charge of the other kingdoms who we are at war with. Jaime is very much so aware of what they have up against them. He knows that they have enemies everywhere and that they need allies. And sometimes Cersei is under the impression that she is always in control and that no one else is above her. And I think that's going to kind of be her downfall this time, because she has so many enemies. There's a lot going against her, especially the fact that her own brother is working with them. So, he does mention how, all of their kids are dead, because all of the kids that the queen had, she had with her brother. And, all other children are dead. They haven't talked about his, Tommen, who killed himself in the season 6 finale after Cersei blew up everything, the High Sparrow and all of the enemies that she had. He jumped out of the window and killed himself, but they haven't discussed their son's suicide. Basically because she's like, they're dead and gone now. I have to move on. They're just, dead bodies now. And you can kind of see how she's kind of broken herself off from that mother-loving side of herself, and now she's just a straight queen who, doesn't have time to sit around and sulk over dead people, basically. Even if those dead people are her children. She's focused on becoming the queen of the 7 kingdoms. All 7, with everyone basically kneeling before her feet. What else? Yeah, so Jaime is reminding her that, she can't win the war alone, and they need allies. And she's like, oh, I know that, basically. And then comes to find out, she's called upon the Greyjoys. But not the siblings. Not the 2 siblings. No. Euron, the new king who killed his brother to get the crown, and wants to kill his niece and his nephew. And that's Theron, and I can't think of his sister's name, Greyjoys. They are with Daenerys. They're on her team. They took the ships and flew to her flew. And that, why did I say fly? They took the boats and went to her, basically, to help her. So their uncle is, of course, looking to murder them. And Cersei is aware that he's really just looking for a wife. And when she tells Jaime that, he kind of looks like, what? You're looking to marry someone? Because, of course, they're in love, which is still very fucking weird. So he, of course, is there, and he's giving her this proposal over how he just wants to have this wife, and that's what he wants. You know, him and Jaime kind of go back and forth with their battles together, and how, you know, he basically can't be trusted. How he was happy that Jaime killed people in his family. Jaime's bragging about killing Greyjoys, and Euron is like, well, yep, it was too many of them anyway. And, you know, he was happy that he was exiled, because now he's back to be the king of, but, you know, the Iron Isle. But it's like, he's cute, though. He's a weird, piratey type cute. But as Cersei's listening to all this, she declines his proposal for marriage. Solely because she's like, I can't trust you. And if I can't trust you, I can't marry you. So, you know, I decline it. He tells her he knows he has to earn her trust. So he does say that, you know, he promises to bring her a gift so that she'll trust him. He doesn't say what the gift is. So I'm wondering which person he's going to go and try to kill to gain her trust, or what he's going to try to do. So that part is to be determined. We see Sam, and that Sam is in a cycle of, what was he doing? Feeding people, emptying chamber pots full of shit and piss, and then cleaning them out. I was very disgusted at the cycle of I mean, the whole, it was just so nasty. Like, they're just shitting in pots, and he's having to empty them and then clean them. And then he's putting books back, and he's having to go get more shitty pots and empty more shitty pots. It was very, very different. Because he, of course, was only there in Citadel trying to get into the library to read up on the books to try to figure out how to help Jon win this war. But he's not doing that. He doesn't even have access to that part of the library. So that was different. We do know that the most he does is clean up messes. Because even as he was talking to, I don't know the guy's name, but I'm going to call him the person over the library, and they're cleaning a dead body, and he's having him weigh the liver and weigh the heart, and they're talking, and he does say that he believes Sam about what he saw about the White Walkers, solely because they've been hearing different things from different sources who are not connected, and they're all saying the same things, meaning what Sam is saying is true. And so for that reason, he believes Sam. But Sam still does not have access to the library where he can get more information. But he just says, you know, clean up this mess and we'll see what we can do. We do see that he steals a key to the library. And he steals some books. And he puts them in his little pocket and he leaves. So then, you know, him and Gully are then looking through the books later on in the episode. They're looking through the books, just trying to find something. And then he comes across a map to an island full of dragons, dragon glass. And he's trying to get word to Jon because this can help Jon, because that's what Jon wanted him to do in the first place. We need this to stop the White Walkers. We also see that as he is back to just little weird duties, that he's now collecting little food pots from these, I'm going to say prison cells, it looked like they were, or just holding cells for something. We find out that Jorah Mormont is there. He hasn't been completely taken over by the stone man little disease thing that turns him to stone. He's still a little bit of himself because he was able to talk and question and things like that, because he was asked, you know, has the mother of dragons gotten here yet? Is Daenerys here yet? And then Sam just says, you know, no, she's not here. I haven't heard that yet. So it's cool to see that he is still trying to figure out a cure or something for himself so that he can get back to Daenerys. we see that Brienne still has, an admirer, and Timon, and then Sansa has an admirer, and Littlefinger. The admiration that Littlefinger has for Sansa is just so skin-crawlingly weird, but she's aware of what he wants, and when she needs to, she's going to use that to her advantage. We saw that in the end of season 6, when I believe they kissed, if I'm not going crazy. I didn't rewatch season 6 before I watched this, but if I'm not crazy, that did happen. But she's aware of his admiration for her, basically because he also was in love with her mother, and she looks like her mother. So, he does like her. And when Brienne is asking, like, why is he still here, Sansa admits, because we need his army. But I also know what he wants. So, at least she's using what she got to get what she wants at this point in time. Ronnie Hopes. The one weird thing that I saw as Arya was going through the forest, we see off the blue Ed Sheeran is sitting there singing a song. That scene kind of threw me a little bit. I didn't know if they were going to try to rob her, beat her up or something. It's going to be someone else she murders. The scene just turned out to be her having a moment in the forest with other people, having a conversation. They are, because of the turmoil, they are there to help keep peace, basically, their soldiers. And, they offered her some food, they gave her some liquor. Weird to have a kid drink liquor, but I guess that's the time that it was back then. And, when they ask her why she's going to King's Landing, she admits, I'm going to kill the queen. And they laugh at her, thinking she's joking, not knowing that she's dead ass serious. Like, that's what she's going to do, because of course we know she's getting revenge on them because they killed her father, Ned. Well, she didn't. Well, she had a hand in it, so yeah, she did. So yeah, we also see the Hound is still with the Brotherhood. They're looking for cover, not cover, but warm, somewhere warm, because they're in the winter and they're out in the elements. They do find a house and everything. So when they're in the house, it was a scene to where it was, at first I was like, what's going on here? They're kind of talking and things like that. He kept asking, why did the Lord of Light bring you back? And he's like, I don't know. They then ask him to look into the fire. If you look into the fire, that's where you will get, different answers, because they don't know why the Lord of Light brought the leader of the Brotherhood back. But they know if you look into the fire, you can get certain answers. So he initially looks into the fire. He just sees fire. He sees a log on fire. And they're like, no, keep looking. He then starts saying how he sees a wall of ice. He sees the wall. He sees the castle. He sees a mountain that looks like an arrowhead. And he sees the dead marching across the mountain. He is seeing things in this fire that he is confused about. And the leader of the Brotherhood then say, now you understand that we're here for a reason. We're not here for nothing. So that scene to me flipped. Because I was like, because I'm looking in the fire thinking, what do I see? Like, I was looking hard myself. Like, what can I see in the fire? So that part was really, really, different. And there was also a family when they got into the house who had died in the house. And he was up burying them in the backyard after seeing that in the fire. Because it's like, I need to give these people a proper burial because they are dead. Last scene, of course, the best. Daenerys is finally home. She's back to her kingdom. She is back there for the first time, and she's taken in everything. She's back with her army. She's back there with her council. She's back there with her dragons, because she's the mother of dragons. So when she gets to the island, she's touching the ground because she wants to see if it feels the same. They're showing her walk up to the house, and you see the big dragon. The big dragon statues up front, because this is her home. This is her home. And it was so amazing to see how she was taking it all in and just soaking it all in, that she was finally home, that she was on her way to being where she rightfully feels she belongs. So they show her walking through the castle as the doors are opening up, and then you see her, rip down an old flag that I'm guessing was not from her family. And then she sees, of course, the throne room. And I'm like, okay, is she going to go sit down on the throne? She walks right past the throne room, and she walks into what I'm going to call the war room. You know, and it's her and Tyrion. And he is looking at the dragon stones on the wall because, of course, this is the Mother of Dragons' home. And then as she's putting her hands over the table that shows the world, basically, she says to him, shall we begin? Because she's there to take over. It was such a great fucking episode. A great, great first episode. I can't wait for the rest of this season. I can't wait to, review each season. Each episode. I'm so happy. So that was my review of what happened on today's episode. That covered just about everything, actually. So, until next time, please remember to subscribe to my channel. Please comment below whatever comments you have, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. Please share my videos as well, and subscribe. This is Jaylee's Corner. I am Jaylee. Until next time, people. Peace.